Welcome to the Did You Know session. We're going to look at how we can use a correlation engine template to record a JMeter test and then correlate that test. So within the templates in JMeter, we've got the correlation recorder which we've enabled through the plugins. Now we're going to create a new test using that template, and within the correlation we start the proxy recorder. So we click the start button. This will generate a certificate that you have to load into your browser to when you do the recording. So here's our web browser. We already loaded the certificate. We're going to log in with our SAP user. Now as we're going through the process in SAP, within JMeter on the left, you will see the requests are being captured by our JMeter recorder. And for each of the requests, we can interrogate those. You can click on these links in JMeter and see the request and the response that's going on as we go through the recording of the test. So here's an example. We've just picked on one of these pages. We can look at the request and the corresponding response. Now within SAP, we're going to just navigate and do some functions and generate some user activity that we're going to capture in our JMeter test. When we're finished in SAP, all we need to do is basically log out. So we've got a complete session. We've got the session of logging in, doing something, logging out. Now SAP uses some tokens as part of the session, and they'll be hard coded in JMeter. So we need to use the correlation engine to basically parameterize those and make sure when we run this test in the future, those tokens are managed correctly by the correlation engine. So we're going to stop the recorder and just make JMeter full screen. So when we stop the recorder, what the recorder will do is to replay the test in the background. And what it's doing is it's doing that to identify any tokens that are failing. So if we have hard-coded values, when the test is replayed, those links will fail because we're using invalid tokens. Now at the end of the replay, you can see in the log here we've got some failed transactions. At the end of the replay, you have the option to do an auto-correlation or to use a template. Now a template is a predefined set of rules that can be created by your organisation or by yourself, and also we have one that's supplied by BlazeMeter. So we're going to use a template, and we're going to use this one here, which is our SAP template. And we've got the rules for these two tokens. So the rules are part of the template. The end user doesn't need to understand how this template's been created. They select the template. They then rerun the template and apply it to their test. So as you can see here, we've identified these tokens need to be updated. We click apply, and we've now parameterized our test based on this template rule. So if we go back to JMeter, we can look at one of these transactions and we'll see we've added in our regex to deal with this token, to capture it and to store it and to then update the test accordingly. If we replay this test inside JMeter, without correlation, you'll get errors. You'll get things like 403 authentication errors because basically you're using a previous token value. Now we've parameterized the test correctly. When we replay this test, and we'll make it scroll so you can see the requests as they go through, what you'll see is the transactions are working correctly because we are capturing the token at the start of the test and then reusing that token throughout the rest of the transactions throughout our test. So now we can take this JMeter test and load it into BlazeMeter. So we're in BlazeMeter, we've uploaded our JMeter, we've just correlated. We can now configure this in BlazeMeter. So number of users, the length of the test, the ramp up time, all the normal settings. So we can take this JMeter test directly from JMeter, upload it into BlazeMeter and launch it. And this gives you the benefit of BlazeMeter allowing you to scale this test. So we're doing 20 users here. This could be hundreds or thousands of users. You can also use BlazeMeter to use the test data, and you can use that to generate synthetic data or to load data into your test. And as we can see here, we've now launched our test, and within the UI we can monitor the progress. So we can see the status of the test and the response times we're getting, as well as the load that we're generating. So you can see how quickly it is we can take a JMeter test that's been correlated using the correlation engine and then to launch this into BlazeMeter and start to test our SAP application. So with that, thank you for your time and goodbye.